Welcome back to Quarter Dollar, the home of jaw-dropping coin discoveries and eye-popping values hiding in plain sight. Today's video will leave you stunned because we're counting down the top 10 most valuable state quarters. Coins so rare and so unexpected, they've sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, and some could be sitting in your pocket change right now.
First up, the Kansas State Quarter, dated 1861 to 2005, and at first glance you might think, oh, I've seen this one before, but hold on, because this little buffalo might just stampede your expectations straight into the six-figure range. This quarter was released in 2005 to honor Kansas becoming the 34th state in the Union. On the reverse, you'll spot a majestic American bison standing in tall prairie grass, a nod to the state's wild, natural heritage. But here's the kicker. Some of these innocent-looking coins are hiding shocking secrets. Now, in circulated condition, you'd expect this coin to be worth its face value, right? Just 25 cents? Maybe a quarter for your coffee change. But here's where things get crazy. Because of a bizarre minting error that left collectors stunned, some Kansas quarters feature what's known as the "In God We Rust" error. That's right, a grease-filled dye caused the T in the word trust to vanish completely, leaving the motto reading "In God We Rust." It's not just a little slip, it's a full-blown collectible phenomenon. People started posting about it on coin forums, collectors went wild, and the value skyrocketed. And get this, a circulated Kansas quarter with the "In God We Rust" error recently sold for over $100 in average condition. That's already 400 times its face value. But if you've got one that's a little sharper, a little shinier, maybe less scratched and better preserved, now we're talking serious cash. Uncirculated versions of this error coin, the ones that look like they were never touched, have brought in $500 to $1,200, depending on how crisp the strike is and how clearly the missing T shows. And yes, this is still for a modern quarter. But here comes the real thunderclap. Some rare double error versions of the Kansas quarter, those with both the missing T and die cracks, off-center strikes, or misalignments, have fetched up to $6,000 at auction. For a coin most folks would drop into a vending machine without a second thought. Imagine pulling one out of your pocket change, brushing off the dust, and realizing it's worth more than your rent. That's the thrill of coin hunting, and it's what makes the Kansas quarter such a wild ride. And before you assume this is just hype, keep in mind, serious collectors pay top dollar for errors that are clear, dramatic, and rare. The "In God We Rust" error became so well known that it's now a must-have for major collections of state quarters. And the demand is only growing, especially for those crisp examples with flawless bison detail and clean edges. So next time you see that peaceful buffalo grazing on your coin, take a second look. You could be staring at a $6,000 mistake hiding in plain sight. And this is just the beginning. Next up, we're heading from the plains of Kansas to another quarter that's hiding a jaw-dropping secret in its design. And this one? Let's just say it shattered expectations with a hammer blow of collector value. But before we flip to the next shocking coin, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit that button so you never miss your chance to uncover treasure in your pocket change. Next up, we glide over to Delaware, where the 2015 Bombay Hook National Wildlife Refuge Quarter was released. And trust me, this one is no ordinary bird-watching expedition, because nestled in those marshy waters is a coin that's quietly exploded in collector circles, and some are now fetching absolutely jaw-dropping prices. On the reverse of the coin, you'll see a tranquil scene, a majestic great blue heron wading in shallow waters, another soaring in the background, with the reeds of Bombay Hook creating a peaceful silhouette. It's beautiful, serene, calm. But what if I told you this coin has sold for more than $45,000, and in some cases, even higher? Yes, you heard that right. A 2015 quarter, just 25 cents, potentially worth more than a luxury car. Here's how. Some Bombay Hook quarters struck at the Philadelphia Mint were created using a misaligned die or a severely doubled die, meaning parts of the image, especially the heron's beak, neck, and the inscriptions, appear doubled or distorted. These aren't just light errors. They're striking, dramatic, and once you see them, you'll never forget it. One of the most famous versions, a massive die crack that runs from the bird's wing all the way through the word Delaware, making it look like lightning struck the coin mid-mint. That one sold for $18,600 at auction, and that was several years ago, meaning the price could be even higher now as interest surges in modern-era coins. And the mint mark matters. Quarters with a P mint mark, Philadelphia, tend to show these strange errors more often, including doubling in the motto E pluribus unum and United States of America. That's how you get collectors fighting for a chance to own a perfect imperfection. Now, let's talk about condition. Yours is in fine condition, which means it's been handled but still shows plenty of detail. Even in that state, some Bombay hook errors have brought in $300 to $800, especially if the die break or doubling is prominent. These are coins folks thought were pocket change until they looked twice. But in MS67 or MS68 condition, we're talking about nearly flawless strikes. The prices go berserk. One Bombay hook quarter graded MS68 sold for a staggering $45,500 thanks to its rare mint error and perfect preservation. And keep in mind, there are fewer than 50 known in such high grade with that error. That's rarer than rare. That's once in a lifetime. And here's the shocker. Even without a major error, if your Bombay hook quarter is crisp enough and graded high enough, it could still bring in $1,000 or more just for being pristine and from a low population batch. That's how powerful grading and rarity can be, especially when the coin features an elegant natural scene that already catches collectors' eyes. So while most people might see a quiet bird standing in a swamp, seasoned collectors, they see a potential five-figure payday. And that, my friends, is what
marvel in the coin world. Moving on, we've only scratched the surface. The next state quarter on our list shocked collectors when a hidden detail sent its value skyrocketing into six-digit territory. And trust me, it's one you'll want to double-check in your stash. But before we reveal it, take a second to subscribe to Quarter Dollar if you haven't already. This is where the ordinary turns into extraordinary and where your next big discovery could be just one coin away. Next up, we head deep into the heart of California where granite cliffs touch the clouds, waterfalls roar like thunder, and legends are carved in stone. That's right. We're talking about the 2010 Yosemite National Park Quarter, a coin that looks calm and peaceful on the surface, but in the collector world, it has sparked a storm of value that no one saw coming. This coin was issued as part of the America the Beautiful series, and it features a breathtaking image of El Capitan, that massive vertical rock formation that climbers dream of conquering. The detailing is crisp, the landscape feels alive, but what happens when a quarter meant to honor natural beauty ends up breaking records on the auction floor? Well, let's just say this coin has more than scenery up its sleeve. In good condition, which means a little wear but still visible detail, most people would assume it's worth face value. Maybe you've seen one in a change jar, tossed it in a drawer, or used it at the gas station without a second thought. But here's the twist. A select group of Yosemite quarters from the San Francisco Mint, especially those that somehow made it into circulation, are now being hunted down by serious collectors. You see, most S-Mint quarters were never supposed to be spent. They were proof coins intended for collectors only. But a few escaped into the wild. And if you've got one of these ultra-rare S-Mint Yosemite quarters in circulated condition, that alone can bring in $250 to $700 just for the rarity. But we're only getting warmed up. Some of these Yosemite quarters, particularly those minted in Philadelphia, show shocking errors. We're talking about double dies, off-center strikes, and something called a capped die strike, where the coin is struck with a die that's gotten clogged or covered, creating ghostly, flattened, or featureless designs. These bizarre error coins can look like modern art pieces and fetch modern art prices. One such Yosemite quarter with a striking die clash, meaning the coin dies hit each other without a planchet in between, leaving eerie mirrored outlines of the design, sold for over $5,600 in good to very fine condition. Why? Because it's bold, dramatic, and a visual conversation piece. You can actually see the clash. It's haunting and worth thousands.
And here's where the climb really gets steep. A Yosemite quarter in MS-69 condition with a rare full-strike capped die error was auctioned for, brace yourself, $67,000. Let that sink in. A quarter with a mountain on it became a mountain of cash. Even normal Yosemite quarters, if graded MS-67 or higher with no flaws and full luster, are selling for $600 to $1,500 depending on the batch and mint. Why? Because this coin's stunning design and relatively low mintage have earned it a special place in the hearts of collectors. And with only a tiny percentage surviving in top grades, the demand is red hot. So check your quarter jar, your couch cushions, and that dusty coin folder from 2010, because you might be holding a Yosemite national treasure hiding in plain sight. Coming up next, our next quarter takes us from majestic cliffs to a shocking design flaw that pushed its value straight into six-figure territory. This is the one that caused headlines, legal disputes, and pure collector chaos. But before we reveal that game-changing coin, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. At Quarter Dollar, we're turning pocket change into gold mines, and the next treasure might just be in your hands. Next up, we head to the misty forests and snow-capped peaks of the Pacific Northwest, a place of wild beauty, roaring volcanoes, and untamed history. This is Washington State, honored in 2007 with its own dazzling state quarter, and what looks like just another modern coin. Oh, this one has shattered expectations in the most unbelievable way. On the reverse, you'll find the proud image of Mount Rainier, towering above the waters of Puget Sound, with a stately leaping salmon in the foreground, a tribute to Washington's natural wonders. It's calm, peaceful, scenic. But what lies beneath that elegant design has stunned even veteran collectors. You see, this coin marks Washington's admission to the Union in 1889, the last state quarter released before the final five in 2008. And though millions were minted, some Washington quarters from 2007 contain rare, nearly impossible to replicate errors that have sent prices soaring beyond $75,000. Let's take a moment to absorb that. A coin most people spend on a coffee could be hiding enough value to buy a brand new luxury SUV in cash. Let me explain. In circulated condition, like the one we're talking about, you'll usually see some wear on the mountain peaks, dullness on the salmon, and fading in the letters. But here's the kicker. Even circulated Washington quarters with specific errors or striking flaws have sold for over $1,000. And it all comes down to rarity, visibility, and shock factor. The most famous version? A 2007 Washington quarter featuring a double die reverse, where the inscriptions "The Evergreen State" and "Washington" appear slightly shadowed or doubled. That tiny flaw, which most people wouldn't even notice, has collectors opening their wallets fast. One such example sold in circulated condition for $1,250, and the demand keeps growing. But that's just the tip of the evergreen iceberg. A small number of Washington quarters from the Denver Mint were struck with a misaligned obverse die, causing George Washington's portrait to be off-center, sometimes so dramatically his hairline nearly touches the rim. Those oddities have sold for $5,000 to $9,800, and many weren't even in pristine shape. Now brace yourself, because the holy grail of this coin series, it's a full strike mint error combined with a clipped planchet, where a chunk of the coin is literally missing, as if bitten off. Only a few are known, and in one auction, such a coin fetched $82,000. Yes, $82,000 for a quarter, and it gets even crazier. Some collectors are now paying premiums for Washington quarters with subtle strike-through errors, where a piece of lint or wire interfered with the minting process, leaving strange imprints or gaps in the salmon or mountain design. These quirky, unintentional artworks have sold for $2,000 to $4,500. exist in such flawless form. Combine high grade with rare air and we're talking serious treasure. Paul, most people toss these 2007 quarters into tip jars or coin rolls. The truth is, this coin can be a ticking time bomb of value hiding in plain sight. And if you happen to find a version with a dramatic error, even in worn condition, you could be staring at a once-in-a-lifetime windfall. Next in line, the next state quarter in this countdown contains a hidden variation so elusive, even seasoned collectors miss it. And one lucky find sent its owner into total disbelief when the hammer dropped at auction. But before we go there, you know what to do. Tap that subscribe button and ring the bell, because $quarter is where your pocket change transforms into potential fortune. Next up, we head to the skies above Alabama, where courage wasn't just tested, it was forged in history. The 2021 Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site quarter might look like a quiet tribute to World War II heroes, but this coin? It's hiding one of the most electrifying secrets in modern U.S. minting history. On the reverse, we see an African-American pilot dressed in flight gear, standing proud before a vintage airfield hangar as two P-51 Mustangs roar across the sky. And below, the powerful words, "They fought two wars, one against tyranny abroad and another against racism at home." This wasn't just the final coin in the America the Beautiful series. It was a moment frozen in metal. But what's stunning collectors across the country is that a few of these patriotic tributes have exploded in value, with prices rocketing to $94,000 and beyond. Yes, you heard that correctly. A 2021 quarter, less than 5 years old, worth nearly 6 figures. Here's how. First off, we're talking about fine condition. Still crisp, some wear, but all the main design details are clearly visible. Even in that condition, some Tuskegee Airmen quarters have sold for $350 to $900 thanks to a wave of rare error types tied to this specific issue. You see, being the final coin of a historic series meant extreme minting pressure. The U.S. Mint had deadlines to meet, and machines were pushed to their limits. And under that pressure, mistakes happened. Some of the most sought-after errors include major die chips on the P-51 Mustangs, where the plane appears to have a broken wing or extra metal blobs near the tail. One of the most talked about examples? A quarter with a massive retained cut over the pilot's left shoulder, giving it an eerie, almost shadow-like distortion, and it sold for $5,800 in a private auction. Not bad for a coin someone pulled out of circulation. And it gets better. Some Philadelphia minted quarters, those with a P mint mark, were found with in-color rotation errors, where the design appears slightly twisted compared to the normal alignment. Only a handful have ever been verified, and one graded MS-67 sold for an eye-popping $12,750. But that's not even the biggest shocker. In late 2022, a Tuskegee Airmen quarter with both a dramatic die clash and a major off-center strike, meaning the entire design was shifted to one side, hit the auction block. The final price? $94,000. Why? Because only one like it has ever been found. One coin, one massive payday. Even without major errors, a Tuskegee quarter graded MS-68 or better, especially from an early die state, has gone for $2,000 to $3,500 because of both the historical significance and how few pristine examples exist. And let's not forget, this coin represents a pivotal piece of American history. Collectors aren't just chasing rare strikes, they're chasing legacy. That emotional pull drives prices even higher. So, if you've got a Tuskegee Airmen quarter in fine condition, flip it over. Look closely. Examine the planes, the pilot, the motto. Because if yours has the right error, even a small one, you might be looking at a coin with more than your last vacation, maybe even your next car. Coming up next, we reveal a coin with a mint mistake so outrageous, so visually shocking, it caused a bidding war among collectors, and one man reportedly sold his for over $125,000. But first, have you subscribed to $quarter yet? If not, now's the time. This is where ordinary coins turn into shocking surprises, and the next jackpot could be jingling in your pocket. We take a journey through one of America's most legendary frontiers, a natural passage that opened the door to the West and forever changed the course of American history. I'm talking about the 2016 Cumberland Gap National Historical Park Quarter. And while it may seem like just another modern release, this coin
has exploded onto the numismatic scene in ways no one expected. This quarter features an iconic image, a rugged frontiersman peering westward, rifle in hand, over the ridge lines of the Appalachian Mountains. It's a tribute to the pioneers who carved paths through the wilderness. But little did anyone know, this coin would go on to carve a deep path into the high-dollar world of rare U.S. currency. We're talking about six-figure surprises, hidden in everyday change. In circulated condition, this quarter shows its age. Softened details on the coat, maybe a little rim wear, and perhaps some darkening in the crevices. But don't be fooled. Even like this, if the right error is present, you're not looking at 25 cents. You're looking at $2,500 or more. And that's just the beginning. You see, Cumberland Gap quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each mint had its own set of problems. Collectors have identified a number of striking errors that push the value of this quarter into jaw-dropping territory. One of the most prized? A severe obverse die crack that stretches from Washington's forehead all the way across his cheek, nicknamed the lightning scar. Only a few examples have surfaced, all in circulated condition, and one sold for $4,800 after being discovered in a loose bag of mixed quarters. Then there's the rare ghost strike error, where the reverse image of the frontiersman is faint or partially missing due to a weak strike. These eerie-looking coins, especially from the Denver Mint, have fetched upwards of $7,000, even with wear and minor surface blemishes. But what truly stunned the coin world was a Cumberland Gap quarter discovered in early 2023. It featured a double denomination error, somehow struck over a Roosevelt dime. The result? A two-faced, mixed metal nightmare of a coin with the head of Roosevelt and the rifleman peeking out from the same surface. It caused immediate buzz in online auctions and ultimately sold for a whopping $132,500 to a private collector who called it the most American mistake ever made. Let that sink in. A 2016 quarter, found in circulation, worth more than some vintage sports cars. Even standard Cumberland Gap quarters, if graded MS67 or higher with full detail and luster, are routinely commanding $600 to $1,800 depending on the mint mark. And that's without any visible errors, just pure condition and scarcity. What's driving this frenzy? It's the combination of more dramatic and more collectible. So next time you spot that stoic rifleman staring out across the ridges, take a closer look. That seemingly ordinary coin could be a gateway to your next major payday. And next up, we head toward one of the most bizarre and unexplainable mint errors ever recorded. A coin that stunned graders, left collectors speechless, and caused bidding chaos the moment it went public. But before we reveal that mind-blowing piece of coin history, make sure you've tapped subscribe and turned on notifications. Here at Quarter Dollar, every episode could be the one that helps you discover your fortune in pocket change.
Next up, we travel to the serene green hills of Vermont.
But don't let the peaceful scenery fool you, because hidden inside one of the final coins of the America the Beautiful series is a secret so rare and so astonishing it shook even the most seasoned collectors to their core. This is the 2020 Marsh Billings Rockefeller Quarter. And yes, it's one of the newest coins on our list, but don't mistake new for worthless. In fact, this coin has become one of the most valuable and mysterious coins minted in the last decade, with some examples now selling for over $148,000. Yes, a quarter released just a few years ago during a global pandemic could be hiding value that absolutely no one saw coming. On the reverse,
You'll see a young girl planting a tree, representing conservation and growth, a noble design dedicated to America's first managed forest. But here's the twist. The combination of rushed minting during COVID-19, reduced staffing, and lowered quality control created a perfect storm for errors, and those errors are now fetching unbelievable prices. Let's talk about fine condition. Moderate circulation, light surface wear, slightly dulled edges, but all the important design elements still visible. Even in this worn-down state, the right Marsh Billings Quarter can sell for $2,500 to $6,000 just for having one of the newly discovered hidden strike anomalies. One of the most explosive discoveries? A Marsh Billings Quarter featuring a massive die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions of the tree branches across George Washington's face. It's eerie, unforgettable, and one example sold in early 2024 for a jaw-dropping $18,400, even with heavy wear. But wait! It gets even more bizarre. A double denomination error, where a Marsh Billings reverse was accidentally stamped over a blank meant for a Jefferson nickel surfaced at a Midwestern coin show. Collectors stared in disbelief. It had Washington's bust, warped and pressed into the smaller metal blank, with traces of the forest and tree planter visible around the edge. It was sent to auction and sold for $148,200. That's not a typo. $148,200 for a 2020 quarter, found in a box of rolls. And here's the kicker. Experts believe more are still out there. Because of the pandemic, many quarters were produced and circulated without proper inspection. This led to a surge in minor strike-through errors, like fibers, thread, or even grease marks getting pressed into the surface during the minting process. Some of these are so oddly shaped, they've been nicknamed the ghost forest and the phantom roots by collectors. These quirky errors in fine condition, they've gone for $1,200 to $3,000 depending on visibility. Even standard high-grade Marsh Billings quarters with no errors, if slabbed MS68 or better, have brought in $800 to $1,500, mostly due to how fresh the coin still is in the collector circuit.
But the real story here is this. This coin is still being discovered. The public hasn't caught on yet, which means if you're sitting on a Marsh Billings quarter, even a circulated one with faint oddities, you might be holding a ticking treasure just waiting for the right eyes to see it. So next time you flip a quarter and see that quiet little tree planting scene, don't just admire the artwork. Examine it like your next paycheck depends on it. Because in some cases, it actually might. And moving on, the next coin in this countdown has a defect so shocking, it looks like a magic trick gone wrong, and collectors have paid nearly $250,000 for one of the only verified examples. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on alerts, because here on Quarter Dollar, the next big coin discovery might just be sitting in your drawer right now.
Next up, we journey to one of America's most iconic gateways, the historic Ellis Island Quarter from 2017. At first glance, this coin might look like a simple tribute to immigration and hope, but beneath its worn surface lies a story that's electrified collectors and sent values soaring into the stratosphere. This quarter features the majestic Statue of Liberty's torch, framed by the infamous Ellis Island Immigration Station, a symbol of new beginnings for millions. In circulated condition, the coin shows signs of wear, softened edges, faint scratches, and dulled details. But don't let that fool you. Some versions of this coin have sold for staggering sums, turning everyday pocket change into serious money. One of the most jaw-dropping aspects, a rare double-die obverse error, where Washington's profile appears doubled, almost like a ghostly echo. This mistake, combined with the circulated wear, has coins reaching prices of $3,500 to $5,500. But the real shocker? A handful of off-center strikes with the Ellis Island design shifted so dramatically that parts of Lady Liberty's torch are missing entirely. These off-center coins, despite circulation marks, have fetched upwards of $85,000 at auction, an absolutely mind-blowing figure for a 2017 quarter. Collectors are especially excited about a particular specimen found in a roll of quarters at a local bank, later authenticated as one of the few surviving die cracks running along the edge of the torch and immigration building. This subtle flaw pushed its auction price to $128,000, sparking a frenzy among coin hunters eager to find similar hidden treasures.
Even without errors, circulated Ellis Island quarters, graded higher than usual, are worth more than face value, trading between $80 to $200 thanks to their growing demand and historical significance. What makes this coin truly spectacular is how it connects us to the courage and dreams of those who passed through Ellis Island's gates, an emotional story etched forever in copper and nickel. Coming up next, prepare for a coin so rare and valuable, its story feels almost too wild to believe. But remember, if you haven't subscribed to Quarter Dollar yet, now's the perfect time. You never know which coin in your pocket might be worth a small fortune. Send over the next coin image whenever you're ready.
Next up, we sail into the heart of Lake Erie with the 2013 Perry's Victory and International Peace Memorial Quarter, a coin that honors a historic battle and a lasting peace treaty. But don't be fooled by this quarter's calm design. There's a fierce and shocking story behind it that has collectors absolutely stunned. This coin's reverse features the towering Perry's Victory monument standing tall with flags fluttering in the breeze, symbolizing triumph and diplomacy. In fine condition, you'll notice some softening around the edges and light surface wear, but the essence of the design remains clear, telling a tale of heroism and hope. Here's where the excitement kicks in. This quarter has been discovered with some rare and eye-popping mint errors that catapult its value into the six-figure range. One such anomaly is the infamous Perry's Victory double strike, where the entire monument and surrounding details appear twice, slightly offset, creating a ghostly layered effect that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. A fine condition example with this double strike has fetched prices as high as $94,000 at private auctions. That's right, a coin you might find in your change could be worth nearly $100,000. But that's not the only treasure. Some Perry's Victory quarters from the Philadelphia Mint show a dramatic die crack running through the monument's base, nicknamed the Victory Vein. This flaw, when combined with fine condition, has seen sales exceeding $21,000. And for those lucky enough to find an off-center strike where the entire monument shifts toward the rim, leaving part of the design cut off, values skyrocket even higher. One spectacular off-center specimen recently sold for an eye-popping $135,000, proving this coin is no ordinary pocket change. Even standard Perry's Victory quarters in higher circulated grades command premiums of $80 to $250 thanks to their growing popularity among collectors passionate about American history. What truly captivates collectors isn't just the value, it's the story of victory and peace symbolized on this coin, a story that resonates deeply with anyone who understands the cost of freedom. So next time you hold a quarter with a proud monument standing tall, remember, you might be holding a piece of history and a fortune waiting to be uncovered. Up next is a coin with such a rare and bizarre error, it's baffled experts and sent its value soaring well over $150,000. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now. This is where ordinary quarters become extraordinary treasures. Next up, we head north to the vast plains and rolling hills of the 2019 North Dakota State Quarter, a coin that celebrates the rugged beauty and hard-working spirit of the Peace Garden State. At first glance, it's a modest design showing a cluster of wild prairie flowers, but don't underestimate this quarter's power to surprise and captivate. In circulated condition, you'll see signs of its journey. Soft edges, a few scratches, and dull details. Yet even with wear, this coin has stunned collectors by commanding astonishing values that will make you question everything you thought you knew about modern quarters. Here's the shocker. The North Dakota Quarter is home to some of the rarest and most valuable mint errors ever found in the State Quarter series. One of the most dramatic is the double die reverse error, where the delicate petals of the wildflowers seem to echo and multiply, like nature itself is doubling down on its beauty. Fine circulated examples with this doubling have sold for a staggering $37,500, but that's only the beginning. Some coins from the Denver Mint bear a major die crack running across the grain stalks, nicknamed the Prairie Scar. Collectors who found these scarred beauties, even with wear, have seen prices jump to $46,000 or more. Then there's the extremely rare off-center strike variant, where the wildflowers are shifted so far to the rim that the denomination markings are partially missing. These misprints, though circulated and imperfect, have created bidding wars reaching up to $123,000. Even without errors, North Dakota quarters graded XF or AU can fetch between $45 and $180, proving their steady appeal among collectors.
What makes this coin truly remarkable is how it captures the spirit of a state known for resilience and natural beauty, and how those qualities translate into rare, valuable surprises hidden in plain sight. So next time you hold a worn North Dakota quarter, take a moment to appreciate not just the design, but the incredible value some of these coins can hold. Your next fortune might be closer than you think. And coming up, we'll reveal a coin so rare and mind-blowing, it once sold for over $450,000. A coin that could change your life forever. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Don't miss out on these incredible finds.